Welcome back. Going straight into our big story now. For today, we're looking into an issue that affects every Nigerian, the price of petrol. Thank you very much. Now, recent projections by independent marketers suggest that petrol prices might drop to 500 naira per litre in 2025. Now, following months of economic turbulence and significant hikes in the cost of petrol products, reports indicate that increased fuel imports, stabilized exchange rate, and reduced global oil prices could contribute to the price adjustments. However, while this prospect brings a glimmer of hope to many Nigerians, questions remain about the sustainability of such a reduction. Can the economics behind the projection hold firm over time, or are we staring at a temporary fix that could rebound into further price volatility? What does this mean for citizens who have borne the brunt of high transport costs, skyrocketing inflation, and widespread economic hardship?
So to break this down, we are joined by two distinguished guests. First, we have Ukadike Chinedu. He's a National Publicity Secretary for IPMAN. He will give us an insider perspective on how marketers are approaching this projection. And we'll also be joining us will also be Onuoha Nnachi. He is the General Managing Director, and CEO of TTL Group, whose insights will help us understand the broader economic implications of the potential price adjustment. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Let me get started with you, Ukadike. Again, I think Happy New Year as well. Season's greetings to both of you. Even though we're like 11 days into the new year.
This is 2 weeks, Judith. We're already 2 weeks in.
We can still say it until, until it's Valentine's Day.
Oh dear, holiday to holiday.
But gentlemen, I must ask you, and I'm starting with you, Ukadike, what specific factors are driving this projection of a price drop to 500 naira? Is it visible? Are marketers seeing real signs of this happening soon?
Well, what has happened in a very short period of time, within a space of like 7-8 months, not to 10 months, have shown that increase in local refineries and stoppage of importation of petroleum products can drive towards a price reduction. We are aware that fuel was skyrocketing to almost 1,500, and some places in the north 1,800. When Dangote rolled out his refinery, and Nigeria was saddened with the importation of petroleum products to be able to sustain our domestic transportation and the rest of that. And within that period of time, with independent marketers, we are heavily dependent on the products supplied by NMPCL. It is only when NMPCL gives us product that we can be able to give product. So that was what we call a mono source of petroleum products. So it becomes a right-tripping procedure for an independent marketer to be able to get even for 5,000 liters of petroleum products in his filling station. And there was what we call protracted, scarcity of petroleum products. It can come tomorrow. You have good scarcity. Next week, the scarcity will come back again. The federal government will give one reasons or one policy or the other, just to continue to sustain movement of vehicles so that there will not be an economic breakdown. So, Dangote is here. Port refinery is here. Like in your report, you said increase in domestic refining of petroleum products will drive down price. We are in a deregulated economy now. Subsidy has been removed. Investors are coming in because now government is no longer regulating petroleum or subsidizing petroleum products. And even those who want to import petroleum products, if they can be able to get it cheaper, NNDPR has given them license to go ahead and import and compete with the domestic refineries.
Mr. Ukadike, just a second, Mr. Ukadike, if you do not mind. Mr. Ukadike, just a second. I wanted to be absolutely sure on one thing. Now, this 500 naira, how possible is it for like let's say the next 1 or 2 months or 3 months or 4 months? And how are the marketers? Wait, hang on. I'm not done. Just a second. How are the marketers reacting to this? Is it going to benefit the marketers in any way, shape, or form if the price remains higher or if it goes down to 500 naira?
Let me just answer that question straight. When product was for 5,000 liters of PMS, we are getting 8.something million naira. Marketers can be able to kind of sell like 5 to 6 trucks in a week. Some marketers can be able to sell like 10 trucks in a month. But now the behavior of buying petroleum product has changed because product is around 900 to 1,000 to 1,000 before. So commuters are no longer coming to the filling station to be able to fill their tank. So the behavioral attitude of our customers have changed. They are no longer filling their tanks. And now that the product is going down, well, most marketers are not happy. You can even see somebody saying, well, give me 50 liters, give me 20 liters, because the price is coming down drastically. And now our buying of this product, before we spent close to 50 million. The huge amount now is coming down to for something million naira. So we are praying that it will continue to dwindle down so that the cost of fund will not be too heavy on us. And you know, whenever there is a high cost of fund, that is also imperatively increasing the price of petroleum product. So that is why we said we will be happy if this product will even go down less than 500, because the competition is going here and there. Dangote want to remain in business. They want the marketers to buy from them. NNPCL has been struggling seriously to ensure that all their refineries are working to be able to also to compete and kill this issue of monopoly, and which is what the government is afraid of. Some other local refineries are also trying to upgrade their refinery to be able to crack PMS. So when all these things are done, what is happening in the oil and gas industry will be a replica of what has happened in the telecommunication industry.
All right. Let me come to you, Mr. Nnachi, Onuoha Nnachi, and just talk about, you know, how realistic this projection will be. There are so many variables when it comes to the final price, the final pump price of petrol, right? Besides just global oil market, the cost of fuel imports, the on-stream of Warri and Port Harcourt refinery, which they're now saying that Warri will come on stream at 60%. Is this ever going to happen? 500 naira at least? I mean, it's a huge cut, okay, from the 970 or 980 at the pump price. And given a lot that is happening on the global stage, we know that President Trump is going to be sworn in anytime soon. There's still the war in Ukraine and Russia. So much is affecting oil price. Can we achieve 500 naira? Mr. Nnachi.
Having me. Yeah, can hear you.
Yes, loud and clear.
Thank you for having me. And I would like to start by your last statement, because we have to be realistic and what were those factors that affected it. And from the point of economics, we don't do voodoo economics, we deal with data that will give us what we need to know. Once you can back it up with data, it does not make sense trying to say this will go this way, or this will not go the other way. But the most important thing to look at is what are those factors that made the price go up? Are things being done to take it down or to affect it so that it can be, for example, the sale of crude in Naira to Dangote and Co. So the foreign aspect of it will also absolutely be affected. So it's clear that yes, but I will want those that are predicting those numbers of drop, please, can they share the prediction? But as a professional, I'll tell you one thing very clear. There are key factors, either from the demand pool or from the price push. You'll begin to see the effect. Like what Ukadike said, consumption rate has actually dropped, not even just the real consumption, but the smuggling aspect of it that increased the consumption has been so neutralized by price differences. And so it becomes very, very inefficient for anyone to get involved in that. So we are facing real consumption. But is it a possible thing that it could drop? Yes. It definitely can drop far below 500, which will be where I'll be looking at. If Warri Refinery comes up, Port Harcourt functioning full capacity, and Dangote functioning, and the relationship is being managed well, then we can be able to see the effects. But the only part of it is ability to understand that this government must do something to bring it as low as possible. We also have to understand the relationship between the price of PMS in any part of the world and exchange rate. It has a direct bearing. The correlation is direct. It's not partial. So is the exchange rate also dropping, which will guarantee us that? Let me give you a typical scenario. Let's say Warri, Dangote's and Co's comes to produce, and we buy and sell in Naira. And what the supply does not meet our market demands, it means we are still going to import some portions of it. That part we are still going to portion of it requires forex. It requires exchange. And if the exchange or not even being hedged in such a way that the market can be stable, then we'll still have to see some level of volatility. If you recall, the difference between our 170 exchange rate to 1,700 exchange rate will tell us what it is. So it's just there. But my predictions, what I'll say is that while you're working on the supply push to help on the exchange rate factor and the demand pull also, that will help.
Okay. Well, Mr. Onuoha, you've listed a variable of factors. There's supply, demand and supply. There's price push and pull. There's smuggling, which I found very interesting, as I didn't think about the effects of smuggling. So I want to come back to Mr. Ukadike on the smuggling issue. Mr. Ukadike, since the price of petrol had risen, what has it been like, since you're on the forefront here, when it comes to smuggling in Nigeria? Are we still experiencing the massive smuggling we were experiencing from before?
Okay, if you look at the NMPCL, not NMPCL, NNDPR data of consumption of petroleum products before this deregulation was totally removed, Nigeria was consuming almost 107 or 90 something million liters monthly. In the last meeting we had in NLC office, where the chief authority officer of NNDPR statistically informed us that the consumption, the local consumption has drastically dropped from 50 million to 45 million. That will show you that the issue of smuggling has been curbed and reduced drastically. The NSA, in his also wisdom with the custom chief, inaugurated Operation Whirlwind. That Operation Whirlwind was to ensure that petroleum products in Nigeria does not cross the border. And I think they have been performing very, very well. But there is one significant thing I want to also let you know, that when this deregulation and subsidy was removed in Nigerian market, neighboring countries started demonstrating, not Nigerians, our countries, our neighbors, our neighboring countries, they started demonstrating in their own country that why will Nigeria remove subsidy? So it means that this subsidy is not only for Nigerians, it's also for those who are smuggling this petroleum product to the neighboring countries, and they are smiling to the bank against the backdrop of the economy. And within this period of time, you can take a look at how our dollar, the effect of our dollar, how the exchange rate is gradually coming down, and becoming a little bit stable. Stability of our dollar can also, encourage the IOCs to come and invest. Because when our naira is nothing to write home about, you find it very, very difficult for these international communities to come and invest. With independent marketers, we have known how many international organizations and how many world refineries that have indicated to holistically, partner with independent marketers and build refinery here in Nigeria. Now that the government has been, the business has been liberalized. So the effect of smuggling had a lot to do with our economy. Because at that time, we were importing this petroleum product and subsidizing it. Most neighboring countries in Nigeria, within Nigeria, are enjoying that largesse of subsidy. And now, they are no longer patronizing smugglers. The product is almost at the same cost in their own country. And there is one significant thing, like I said earlier on, that this price is going to come down. When we import petroleum products, you will see the prices of vessels skyrocket. To get a vessel to bring petroleum products, these are the vessels 20 MT, 10 MT that we are taking around 9-something million naira. They started charging 250 million. Now that Dangote is here, nobody is patronizing those people that have those vessels. We are trucking our products because it's becoming even more cheaper to truck our product through routes to our filling station than using vessel, because a lot of bottlenecks of moving petroleum products through the sea to all our neighboring states from Dangote refinery. So marketers have geared up towards getting a number of trucks, taking it to Dangote and truck to their filling stations in a more cheaper way. And if government can be able to repair the pipelines so that depots can be able to pump this petroleum product from their own location to a different location at a very minimal cost of 20 kobo, 10 kobo, instead of using 50 naira or 60 naira, 70 naira to truck our petroleum product from Ilejupeki to Port Harcourt or to Kaduna or to Katsina. So these are the factors that the federal government in this revision period to put in place to ensure that the price of petroleum product will definitely hit 500. I also want to tell you that most of the things that are making this petroleum product go high is transportation and logistics.
Transportation and logistics. But I have to ask you, let me come to you, Ms. Onuoha, and then just ask you, is 500 naira a tall ask, given the variables that, which most importantly, logistics and security? Is it a tall ask for this industry, just giving 1 year or a year and a half into decentralization of our oil and gas sector?
Well, we're within the short period of time. From 1,300, we are now at 800 or something there.
Sorry, Mr. Ukadike, just a second, Mr. Ukadike.
Within a short period of time, product will get to 1,000 naira.
Right.
Now, that's from...
Mr. Ukadike, just a second. I wanted Ms. Onuoha to take a hit at that question before yourself.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. It's not a tall order, but even if you...
So Noah, you seem to have an issues with your connectivity there. We'll let Mr. Ukadike take a go at that question, and then we'll try to fix your connectivity. Mr. Ukadike, you have the floor.
Yeah, these are projections with the computation and the variables within us. Because for every independent marketer, we're always trying to look at the best way to be able to get petroleum products in a more cheaper way to our filling stations. And I have said one before, the government should look at the pipeline. Once these pipelines are good, once the roads are good, we will find out products will land their destination in a faster time and also in a cheaper rate. So it is something, it's something that can be worked out within a period of time. Now there is contents of demand and supply that determines a price. Dangote has cried out, he has 500 million liters of petroleum product in his tank, and he wants investors. He wants people that will come and remove those products from his tank so that he can be able to free billions of naira that is stuck in there. So the best thing is for him to look at the prices. Now he has looked at the price and brought out this price to 899 naira. And within a short period of time, whatever the farmer will start cracking PMS. NNPC will also look at the prices of Dangote and see whether they can go down. We independent marketers, we are ready to buy where it's cheap. Once it's cheap in Dangote, we'll buy. If it's cheap in NNPC, we'll buy. Our interest is to ensure that our marketers, our promoters will continue to patronize us at any given time on a lower prices. Do you know now that we are even selling lower than NNPCL? Most of our marketers are now selling NNPCL filling stations are scanty. You will see that promoters are now patronizing independent marketers. On all those long queues, all those Jericho queues that are in NNPC, all of them have disappeared within a short period of time. So availability will determine the dwindling of the price. Once there is availability, once these refineries are working, day in, day night, there will be surplus products, there will be surplus supply. And once there is surplus supply, the price will tilt a little so that everybody who wants to compete in the market will continue to stay aloof and have the good patronage.
Let's see if Mr. Nnachi is back. Mr. Nnachi, if you're there, you could take your go at that question now.
Okay. What I was saying is our ability to look at the fundamentals. When Ukadike talk about the logistics is a constant term in the equations of this product movement. I really want NNPC. If you recall very well, there's a template for importation NNPC used to brandish their sales, which shows the various costs about it. And let's look at that cost and look at what has been eliminated by the local refineries, by Dangote being producing, and by selling in naira and buying in naira. We will be able to tell ourselves what the real cost. The ordinary man should be getting this. If you recall very well, in that template, you will see there were costs for daughter vessels movement. It no longer exists. There were costs for trucking, which also still exists. There were different costs for exchange rate. Exchange rate no longer exists. How has this been reflected in the real cost of what people are buying today? So yes, the price can drop as much as we can, but we should also recollect where the price started rising from. Can we get back to that level? That's the question, and which is a possibility, a very high possibility. Some years back, maybe a year or two back, you remember NNPC would tell us total consumption was 75 million. Now we are hearing consumption about 41 million. So what has changed? You have about 34 million consumption vanish in the system, which is the reality of the fact. Now, how has that affected the price? Which I said I compared them to give us clear data on their demand pool effects on the supply end of it.
Now, Mr. Nnachi, before you go on, Mr. Nnachi, I wanted to add another factor. Note that since the price hiked to over 1,000 naira, we've had a steady supply of PMS. Now, I'm wondering if the price was to go down back to 500 naira, would we still have that availability that we've enjoyed through December, which we just enjoyed the one December in a very long time where we had no fuel scarcity? Would the situation still be the same? Mr. Nnachi, please.
Okay, the situation will still be the same. I can give you that. The scarcities you see most times are man-made, intentionally created. And I'll give you scenarios of the scarcities. A typical scarcity that normally occur in Nigeria is when a typical one is when the independent marketers were the part of the importers. When they import and they don't get their subsidy clearance from NNPC, so they withhold their reserve until their debt is cleared. That creates scarcity. Now, another form that creates scarcity, when you import and there is an LC that you have to open to enable you pay who you're importing from, that part has been clear. So the factors that create those scarcities is gradually being removed completely, because that is why we have this supply surplus that we had. If those factors are still in place, we are still going to have that. So whether the price will reduce because we are producing locally, the scarcity will vanish away because we are producing locally. So the effort is to focus on this local production. And also, since federal government has initiated this, can they make it constant where the trade of it is in Naira? And I'll tell you that the trade of it is in Naira. Some of vessels owners in Nigeria, most of them, let me not just say some of them, are still charging in USD. For you to use their daughter vessels to move from one waterway to the other waterway, they are still charging in USD. This transaction, the moment we envelope and circle this transaction for it to be operated in our local currency, then we are safe. Because I see no reason why people will be doing transaction in Nigeria and you are being mandated to pay in dollars. Even during the time of the importation, as the IPMAN there, the Nigerian Port Authority will ask you to pay some of their fees in dollars. The custom will ask you to pay some of their fees in dollars. How? In the country, and your government agency collecting revenue for government. How does that work? So the ability, because I'm speaking directly to those in government today, the ability to make sure every aspect of our oil and gas industry that is localized here should allow to, the transaction should be in Naira. If you go back and even check maybe gas purchase agreement, gas transportation agreement, they're all domiciled in dollar. Why? There's a question. Nobody can give an answer about it because of that. So in my take, yes, the supply, once the local production is high, will continue. The scarcity will vanish because the factors that make those scarcity available has been taken care of. And we have a huge market. A country of over 200 million is not a joke. It's a market anybody wants to be to. Nobody can deceive you about that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Gentlemen, I must say thank you because we're pretty much out of time. This has been quite an insightful discussion. We hope that the price will reduce, maybe not to 500, but a price drop will still be nice, given the small pennies or small kobos that have been removed from the general price. We've been asked to, I mean, just for my final question for you gentlemen, and I'm going to start with you, Mr. Onuoha, and just ask about the economics of this, since, I mean, I was leading towards that. If there's a price cut, what would it mean for the overall inflationary number, and prices of commodities, given the the cost of living crisis that we have been tackling in the last 1 year with our economy?
If we go by the principles of economics, one would expect once there's a drop in the price, that the price of all affected goods will also drop. You're expecting the food inflation to have effect on it because the logistics of moving the food from the farm to the factories and from factories to the market and everything will also affect. We also expect that the transportation cost of movement, even the aviation fuel, and also because once the production goes high, the aviation industry is about to get the aviation fuel lesser than that, and other things will fall in place. One, ordinarily, from the principle of economics, will expect a drop, but bearing the factors of Nigerian consumption behaviors and marketers' behaviors, I don't know how long it will take for the effect to begin to effect, because some of them will claim, oh, the goods we have now are the goods we transported 3 months ago, 6 months ago, it will come effect. So we have to give a time frame for the effect to, but definitely it should have an effect on a positive direction for the consumers.
Let's come to Mr. Chinedu now. I want us to retroactively look at subsidy now. And I'm wondering, if the price does in fact come to 500 Naira, does this implicate or substantiate the subsidy claim? As many have said that subsidy was a scam, would it actually substantiate that claim that it was? Because if the price is at 500 Naira, and the math doesn't add up. Mr. Ukadike Chinedu, please, what do you think?
Well, I don't think subsidy was a scam because of the energy security and economic stability. Government was doing all its possible best to ensure that petroleum product is being delivered to Nigerians to ensure that there will not be what we call galloping inflation. So that's a policy of government. Maybe they decided not to, let people know that this when the sake of subsidy has been removed, and we also find out that the backdrop of government, they were still subsidizing this petroleum product because what is the landing cost of PMS in Nigeria at that time was not actually the landing cost of PMS. If you put all the variables from the international market to our filling station. But it is also pertinent at this point that Nigeria should understand that we have to face the reality. Because I remember when Okenjiwala said that if we continue to subsidize petroleum products, that subsidy is a monster that is going to eat up the economy of Nigeria, and a lot of things have skyrocketed. And now that this thing has been reversed and Nigerians are facing it, now for me, I also believe that that drilling competition will be able to bring up to the realistic market what petroleum product ought to be in terms of the refining cost and the crude oil SAD international, and also the production rate. So all these things put together. I also believe that deregulation is here, and we're within the market as we are ready to face it. I've done all we can to be able to ensure that we are confronting the factors of deregulation, both finance, both logistics, both storage, and all the rest of them. So I don't believe that that issue of saying that subsidy is a scam is a kind of a palliative way. Government wanted to maintain economic stability and energy security.
Well, I mean, gentlemen, thank you so much for just this insight. It's been we do hope for a broader. We do hope that this price projection will materialize, if not for anything, at least for the sake of the everyday Nigerians. And with the telecoms now asking for a 100% increase on tariffs, Nigerians need a reprieve one way or the other. But gentlemen, thank you so much. Onuoha Nnachi, he gave us a bit of insight on economics there. He's the CEO of TTL Global, and we also had Mr. Chinedu Ukadike, who is the Publicity Secretary, National Publicity Secretary for IPMAN. Once again, gentlemen, many thanks.